For 3.5 SQL Interview Demonstration, I'll be going over the problem that was given to us in this interview and then my solution that I used to solve this. So for this interview, it says, write an SQL statement to find the total number of classes taken by each student. So as you can see, we have two tables with their respective columns and values. And we'll go ahead and jump into SQL Server and I'll show you what I went ahead and created. I went ahead and started out by using the drop table if exists statement. And so what that means is if the students table or the class history table already exists, they're just going to be dropped so that we can go ahead and create new tables in order to solve this interview problem. So the first thing that we're going to do is I've created this students table and it creates the columns student ID and student name. The student ID will be assigned the data type integer, and the student name will be assigned NVCHAR as its data type, so it can accept Unicode for international characters in relation to student names. Next up, I went ahead and created the class history table, and that has the student ID, again, data type integer, and the class ID with a data type integer, as well as the semester by NVAR, CHAR, and that data type is limited to the 11 characters. Next up, I went ahead and started to insert the values into the columns. And by using insert into, we are inserting a student ID followed by the student name into the students table. So for example, the first value we entered into the students table will be a student ID of 1 assigned to an Eddie Rogers. Next up, we're going to insert values into the class history table. And so the values we'll insert into the class history table will be formatted as student ID, class ID, and semester. So for example, the first value of 1 will be the student ID, followed by a value of 3001 for the class ID, and spring 2019 for semester. When we go ahead and execute the lines of code that I wrote out, you can see that it created these two tables as well as their columns. And we've inserted the data into the columns. So when I refresh, that should be reflected. All right, you can see we've got a success. Class history table and students table were created. And for a sanity check, I'll just go ahead and run these select statements to see what are in these tables. So as you can see, these tables were successfully created and the data in them is correct. And so when we go ahead and execute this last statement that I've written out, this statement has the SQL count to count the occurrences of the class ID. This will list the results as number of classes taken, and this will be grouped by student ID and student name. So the aggregate of the class ID will be displayed properly. So when I go ahead and execute that statement, we see the solution to the interview problem.